So I really had to think about how I would approach the subject because it's not an easy subject to approach, and I'm just another voice in the wind. But given my experience, I figured I'd shed some of my thoughts and some reflections on what happened lately as far as the Ukrainian girl Iryna goes. As far as the Charlie Kirk thing happened, may God rest both their souls. And I think the focus should be everywhere. I think we have a real problem. A lot of people know it, they talk about it, but it's not Charlie Kirk I want to talk about. It's the incident with Iryna. Now, that, like it was said by many, could be our daughters, could be our sisters, could be anybody. The sheer brutality of it goes to show you how defunct our society really is, from all levels. From judicial institutions, the law, it just goes to show you how screwed up the law is. What's the law? What law? The law of what? The law? Is there justice in the law? Should this guy been out? No. But that's not mainly what I want to address. What I'd like to address, and for the parents and the kids in my school and the teenagers in my school, especially the women, what I'd like to address is the elephant in the room. And I don't want to take advantage of this situation in any way to say that I'm trying to, capitalize on it. Absolutely not. I do want to address something that I consistently scream out at all the time, and I'm yelling at a society, that is intoxicated with entertainment, intoxicated. I mean, hypnotized, fixated on the good time. Never in the history of mankind have we seen a society that has been so programmed to think only one way. Very few people actually, consider their lives a little bit more serious. I ask people the same thing. I go, you have life insurance for when you die for somebody to get money from you. You have life insurance for your valuables. In case anything happens, you can get something back from it. You don't. Where's your life insurance while you're alive? What life insurance do you have? What have you done to somehow, assure as much as you possibly can that's within your control that you can stay alive? I mean, nothing can, but we have some control over it, right? And this is the problem. The thing is that we don't think it that way. We look at things and the distractions that get to us, and those are the things that that have intoxicated us today. I mean, I'm just questioning: are people's lives so drab that you need these distractions? And I'm going. I ask, not my kids in the school. My kids are phenomenal. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of schools have some great kids in there too, from kids to teenagers, from my 3-year-olds to, to my adults. I can't speak for other schools, and I wouldn't want to. I have an amazing community, and they understand this, and we're all on the same page. And the kids, they listen. Now, there's some that listen more and some that listen less. I can see who's who. I can see who's into the entertainment part of it, as opposed to the let me take some precautions, and as a teenager, this is where you start learning this stuff, because if you have certain behavior in your teens and you maintain that behavior, you're reinforcing it for when you become, when you get into your 20s, 30s, and 40s, it just gets worse and worse. Trying to reverse this behavior is what has given the entire, fitness industry, food industry, what's made it become $1 billion industry, trying to convince you can change in 3 weeks. You can your behavior in 3 weeks. Absolutely not. You can't. It is a struggle. It is It is an embedded pattern that you have made that has become a comfort zone, a couch for you, a security blanket. And you don't want to let go of the security blanket because it's unfamiliar territory, right? And this is the beauty about what martial arts does, is it constantly takes you out of that. Constantly takes you out of that, strips that security blanket away from you. But in the process, though, there are still distractions that, keep us blind and intoxicated, from learning and from seeing reality for what it is. I don't think anybody, and it's not in our nature to wanna believe that, things are bad outside and bad things can happen to us, and nobody goes into a relationship knowing that he's going to cheat on me, so I better start putting that wall up. Nobody wants to live like that. It's not innate in us to want to live like that, let alone, feel that somebody's going to violate us, assault us in such a way, or kill us. But here's the thing. That piece also lacks a bit of awareness of reality. You are in this world, and in this world, there is a devil, and he has his own hatred. He's not prejudiced. He is without prejudice, hates everyone. And his main thing is chaos and madness. And that's what it is. And those that perpetrate madness through media, through this, that have caused so many young kids to sit there and believe that this is some euphoric world and nobody has the right to touch me and I'm living my best life. You are living in a world since the beginning of time that has had nothing but violence. Restricted, mind you, to its own country back at that time with whatever it was, or through war. But at the rate in which we're seeing now, it's conglomerated. It is passed on through the internet, the type of mentality and mindset and madness and energy, that is transcended to almost everybody's household. And people are echoing things they're seeing on social media, even behaviors, even statements, even this, even that. They're basically speaking Facebook. When I converse with people, some people, it's like, and I ask them a question outside of their box, outside of their fragmented little, universe. They have no answers for it. Why? Because Facebook isn't there for them, or Google, to search it up and look at it and type it out and go, oh, okay, yeah, this is what it is. They don't have that. We're a society that's based on our job, whatever our job is, and we let things define what is happening out there, but what we see in the news. And that's it. Some people echo this and other people echo that. Very few people think outside of the box. And those that do, they're conspiracy theorists. You understand? So the main thing I wanted to say is that we live in a world that is really, really fucked up. It is as violent and more violent than it ever was. Never was there a time in the world where there was peace in the world. Never. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Ever. But there were also good times. It wasn't just chaos in the world. There were good moments. There were certain good times. But that depended on, the country, the king who was responsible. But there was also morals, ethics. People believed in God more. There was restrictions. There was limitations and boundaries to what they could and couldn't do, or would or wouldn't do. We're beyond that now. And because we're beyond that, a lot of kids, and due to the distractions they have, and I have to say, to a large degree, that's their parents' fault. I'm not blaming parents. I'm not trying to blame anybody. I'm not judging anybody. I just think that, people get caught up in this. And a lot of people don't see the harm in, constant distraction, constant party, constant good time, constant this. But the sole focus is on the good time, best life. Nothing to do with struggle, nothing to do with a little bit of suffering, good suffering. To educate yourself about the world, about what's happening in the world. No, we cocoon ourselves away to think that it's not my world, it's not going to happen. I have my own world, and when I leave my house or my car, I'm still in my own world. No, you're not. You are in this world, and this world needs head on a swivel. I'm not saying walk around, with paranoid. Absolutely not. We're not paranoid. I don't teach paranoia. I teach awareness, self-awareness, and situational awareness. Awareness. You go out and you're ready to meet. The more you know, the better off you are, the more calm you are. You don't have this paranoia about this or that happening. You know that, okay, I know I can take care of myself, but if I can't take care of myself against this situation, I can run. I have the guts to run. Most people don't even have the guts to run. They're stuck like a deer in headlights, shocked at what's going to happen, what's happening in front of them. Shocked. Now, this poor girl was a victim of the massive problem of this society. But I don't want to talk about her death. What I want to define is how important it is, and what we tell people on a regular basis. And this is because society has become like this, and people are intoxicated in this way. They are distracted and in their own little world. That poor girl, and I refused to put up the video because I didn't want to be another person that was going to add to the nightmare of the parents who are forever now going to be haunted with images of this going around the internet. They won't be able to open up their fucking screens without them seeing this, because the next guy wants to put it up, and the next guy, like, what the fuck? How fucked up are we? The only thing that people should see is the expression on our face. That's it. How fucked up are we? Yes, but we want to show what's this. Okay, that's just one side of it. You want to show this and that. But how about the other side, where the parents, now this going viral, the parents are going to have to open up and they're going to have to see this. Anyways, so I just wanted to show just the look in her face right after the aftermath. Because that's enough for people to sometimes just to look at the human condition of what fear, real fear, looks like. That's fear. That poor soul, what she suffered, that's fear, And I can't, I can't imagine I can't imagine actually, with that type of fear, what she must be going through. What must be going through her mind at that point there, and the helplessness that she had. But if there's a lesson to be taken away from there, and there's a big lesson, I can unpack this in a million ways, and I won't. I'm going to only unpack one thing. People are stuck in a world where baseball cap is down, head is down. I went driving yesterday around, and yesterday made me focus a little bit more than I usually do, because it took away my attention to my daily concerns or daily habits. Yesterday I focused primarily, I was more fixated on looking at bus stops. And I've done this in the past before. I think I put a couple of videos up there that pertaining to this. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a shit. People want to live their happy-go-lucky lives because they're so miserable in their fucking lives. If they don't feel like they're doing something that is emotionally and, tingling their senses, they feel fucking dead inside. There's a lot of reasons for that. We're not even going to get into that. That's not the point. But the thing is that I went around looking, and I yesterday had gave a little talk to the class at the end. I said 99% of them were girls with their heads down on their phone. 99%. I only saw one guy at a bus stop like this. 99% were girls. Girls at the bus stop, not aware of who's next to them, in front of them, behind. Forget the fact that it could be some guy. Just the fact that their head is down, so absorbed, so distracted that they wouldn't even see the car coming into the bus stop. And we've had enough accidents over here around my area to show that, things are not going very well. The car would hit them just swerving off the road. For some reason, somebody cut them off and they wouldn't see it happening. Situational awareness, none. And to top it off, earphones on top. Or both inside here. Well, we have today, the technology of, hear through. The fact that that's dangerous in itself, the components cause problems, still not enough. One, I'd say fine, but I mean, stuck with the head down, and I looked at it, girls walking in primarily girls, 99.9%, girls walking in the streets with their walking and their head is down. When in the past, did anybody walk around with a newspaper in their hands, just walk with a magazine as they're going? Never. Bus stop, maybe. Look around, maybe. Look around, maybe. Were a little bit more aware back then, you know. They were more street oriented back then. It's not the case with the kids today. So, and this is the problem, is that because you're not in your own world, you can't put your head down and look inside. And I tell this to everybody here, you know, you cannot live in your world. In your world is in your home, in your car, and yet still in your car, you're in the world, participating in traffic along with other cars. Cars are just metal tanks. That's what they are. They are an expression of the person behind the wheel. You're still in their world. In your house is a different story. You can do whatever you want in your house. You are in your world. And you have the right to protect that world. Absolutely. So, when you put your head down like that, and this is for all the girls, and I'm just shocked yesterday, I was saying, school should have, you should see 50% women, more than 50% women, and 50% guys in a martial arts school. That's what you should, especially today with the violence that's out there towards women because of the madness that's ensuing. You have soy boys out there that are not men. Men would not be going, you know, taking their anger out on women. You know, a lot of men back in the day were pissed off at their moms, but nobody took it out on their women because their moms set them straight and their dads set them straight. Today you're looking at soy boy dads and, you know, and mom dad and dad moms. And that's what's happening, you know. So, given the type of violence against girls today, and the sex trade, and you know when I say sex trade, I mean the sex trafficking, the child trafficking, you know, that's going on. I mean, like every parent who has a girl should have their kids in the martial arts, obligatorily to teach them the other side of life, the in case, better to have it not needed than to need and not have it case. Who's doing that? No, let's entertain our kids. Let's take them to clip and climb, flip and flop, and skydive, and like, were you happy today? Did you have it? Did you? Let's all have a good. I think it's more for the fucking parents. It's insane. It's like, well, you think I didn't entertain my kids, but I made sure that we covered the other side. God forbid anything happened to them. Nobody has that much control, but at least we take care of, preemptively, we take care of that side. We acknowledge that in this world, shit can happen. How are we prepared? Are we even prepared to run? Are we even prepared to run? Most people just sit there like a deer in headlights when shit happens. They're not even taught how to run. Move, get out. Guy with a knife, you know, it's out of your league. Split, run, throw things at him and run. He's out of your league. 25 plus years as a bouncer, let me tell you something, man. I've seen a lot of shit. A lot of shit. Been through a lot of shit. And I can wholeheartedly tell you, there's no script to any of this. Doesn't matter what you know. There's very little you can control depending on your environment and your situation. But there's a lot of people that will not consider putting their child, what have you done so you can teach your child, give your child the insurance so that they can walk out into the world and not be stuck like this? Well, it does start from the home. I know, but my kid only does a half an hour a day or 15 minutes a day, or when they're telling me half an hour a day, I know it's at least an hour. They're fucking burnt, man. This is an addictive product, and they know that. The people that make this know that. They're selling shit at a rate that's incredible, man. It's like you can't buy enough of this. And, you know, by the time, they're starting them at fucking 9, 10. 9, 10 years old, man. I've seen it, you know. So what do you want your kid to be by the time he's 14, 15, especially the girls? They're open to the social media things, Snapchat, the pictures, the this, the that. They're so stimulated with shit like that and now stuck in the loop in this mouse, the mouse on the wheel trying to get likes, as opposed to figuring themselves out and discovering themselves through martial arts training. Not just gymnastics, and this is great discipline, gymnastics, absolutely. But you cannot fight your way out of a fucking paper bag. put them through boxing and martial arts training and let them and cover that side of their lives. But daddy, I don't like it. Shut the fuck up, you don't like. I don't give a fuck what you like or you don't like. Well, if you're pushing him at 14 years old, that's not going to happen. I can't tell you the amount of kids that come over here for the first time at 14, 15, 16 because they've been behind this. Or, you know, the girls are like, you're taking me away from my Snapchat time or my Insta time with my friends. And you should see the look on the girls. Because they're stuck now wanting others' attention. That's what their validation is there. That's their life now. At 13, 14, 15 years old, that's their life. That's what occupies my mind now. Not the fact that I started young, discovering myself, knowing my attributes, getting to know me, and I still have, and guided by the parents as to how much time you'll have in this and that. Hey man, I wasn't born in the mountains of Greece. I was born over here. Did everything over here. You know, so it's not as if I liked entertainment. I was in the nightlife for all my life, mostly working as a bouncer. Though we didn't party, so it's not like as if I'm a prude saying ours don't have fun. No, but we're not teaching them situational awareness. We're not teaching them that because parents don't give a shit. They're not involved in that. They're there to entertain their human puppies. Entertain, not all of them. I've got some amazing parents at my school. If you made it this far into the video, I've got amazing parents in my school that are like this, on the ball, man, on the ball. When you have the RCMP today criticizing traditional values, you know we are fucked as a society. It is time for you to start preparing your kids, because when the head of the RCMP says, well, you know, we'll start treading on dangerous ground when we're talking about traditional stuff. And parents just kind of like brush right by it. So again, their goal is, came back from work and I'm done and that's it, and I gotta take the kids to. There's a lot of great parents out there. I'm not knocking them, but the importance of teaching kids and your girls and you guys, you know, that you are not in your world, you are in the world, and in this world there are some maniacs out there. There are more mad people out there today than there are sane. The sane are quiet, the mad are loud. This is where we've become now. This poor girl sat in there and did what she wanted to do. She cocooned herself in her own world, the poor girl. Nobody taught her how to do this. And this is every other girl, at least mostly every other girl, that sits and does that. And guys too. And they're stuck. I'm into my world. Just the shock on her, the look on her face totally broke my, busted my fucking heart, because I've seen that fear. It's like, how could this be happening to me? This is the human condition when reality hits. And this is because we are so intoxicated and drugged with this cell phone and lack of knowing what to do and the need to be so entertained, that we forget that you have to mold yourself, into a person that can be aware, because there's no more street smarts. Street smarts are gone. No, it's YouTube smarts only. Street smarts are gone because you're not on the street. We won't let our kids in the street. I didn't, because I didn't want them. I didn't want a chance of them getting snatched up. When the air of, open pedophilia started coming around, open pedophiles just roaming the neighborhoods. Now. So how do we teach them? Personally, me, what I think is every parent that has a boy and a girl, just like in Japan, just like in China, should immediately, back then the Spartans used to take them at 7. Today they need to be at 3. They're walking, they're running, they start running, because once they start walking, they start running. It's time for the leash. And I'm not talking about a real leash, you know what I mean, the proverbial leash, meaning time for them to get taught, to get disciplined. Because you can walk into a Toys R Us store, you can have 2 guys coming at you in different direction, and this has been shown, this is how they work. One distracts you, you lose your hand, while the other guy's around you, takes the kid, he's gone in fucking 5 minutes, in 2 seconds. 2 seconds, not 5, 2 seconds, he's gone. And the other person says, thank you very much for the info, and then they walk away. That's how fast it'll happen. There's videos out there of that happening. They can walk, they need to be put in a school, slowly, because at that age, there's a lot of things they don't like. They don't want to eat broccoli. They don't want to eat this. They don't want to eat that. Big fuck. They're going to eat what is there on the table, unless you're the type of parent that is there to serve them. That's a different story. Then we have what we have today in society. So just not to carry it on anymore, I think you understand the point, for those that have lost it this long, is that we are not looking at things in the right, with the right perspective. This is life is beautiful, but the world is absolutely, never been more dangerous today. Never been more dangerous than it is today, ever. Because here you have your own governments against you. They won't even let you defend yourselves. They're trying to define when and how is your life worth it. That's what they're doing. Well, it's your job as a parent to be able to find the necessary approach to teach, to have your kid, fortify your kid with certain knowledge to take care of themselves, to know when they can fight, when they can run. That's your job as a parent. And in a good school to be able to teach them these principles that allow them to walk into the world and use their eyes as observations, as to observe, not just to look. And not to be stuck here. And this is our problem. This is sickness. It's a bad sickness. We are drugged with this, and it only gets worse from here on. Now, if anything comes out of this, is at least that part. In this scenario, there's a lot of elephants in that room, but the main one is the one that was more obvious, transparent, is. Look around you, man. Get off your fucking phone. Look around you. Judge whether you should be sitting there or there. Near. You're not in your world. Unfortunately, you're not in your own world. Listen to your gut feeling. Listen to what the bells and whistles inside of you. You don't feel good about something, go. There was absolutely, in this unfortunate case, there was absolutely no second thought of whatsoever. Her job was to sit down and then get on the phone. And it's just common with everybody. May she rest in peace. May God keep her close. It's absolutely, and for Charlie Kirk too. And it's just terrible, of what happened. I hope there's a lesson, in this unfortunate tragedy. I hope people look at the lesson behind this and see how bad we are in this society, how bad it has become, especially with the cell phones. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. I think I've spoken too much. So, I don't know, you give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think, man. I'm curious. I'm always curious, And that's that. I wish you guys a good day, and your job is to teach your kids so that your kids are safe, because you're not around for your kids. The minute you drop them off at a daycare, you're not around anymore. You leave them, from your hands go. They're not around anymore. And this goes on all the way up until the day you die. They're on their own. Yes, even as adults, you will always worry, but it starts from young. Which direction you want them to go, how do you want them to think? So anyways, it is what it is, unfortunately. That's it. I wish everybody a good day and a good rest of the week.